Hello and welcome to The Drug Trip, and thank you for clicking on this video. The purpose of this channel will be to share accounts and experiences with various substances so that the viewers can gain an insight as to what those experiences are like. I also hope that these experiences will reduce self-harm and substance abuse, as I do not endorse, condone or encourage the abuse of any illicit substance, drug or medication. I will credit the authors in the description below, and I also upload new trip reports on Sunday and Wednesday every week, so if you do happen to enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. Ever since I was 15 years old, I discovered drugs. I made a list of what seemed interesting. I soon discovered psychedelics, drugs that opened my mind to a new perspective. I made a list of what I would want to use and what I would not want to use, but of course I added DMT of my list to do's, but was careful with it. I knew that I could not just use DMT without preparation and wisdom gained from the lesser psychoactive drugs. I was only 15 years old, and the thought of that scared me. For 6 years, I grew used to the altered mind psychedelics drug forced on me. I started with marijuana, then next psilocybin mushrooms. I used them twice and lost control once. I knew I was not ready and I still felt scared. Last year I used LSD once, a low dose. I controlled it, so I knew it was time and I was excited to the thought of using DMT. So, in the summer of 2013, when I was 21 years old, I visited a good friend of mine who had made me some DMT himself. It wasn't pure. He said about 70% of that was DMT and 30% of it was chemical residue. He has been my friend for over 10 years, so he told me the risks truthfully and said, "So, how about it?" I got scared and I thought to myself, "Wait, do you mean now?" "Yes, now," he said. He told me he had tried using it before himself, but he has weak lungs. He couldn't hold the smoke inside for long enough for him to break through, but he knew my lungs could take it, and he was right. I asked him, "Should we go to the park?" And he looked at me with a frown and said, "You're sure you know what DMT will do to you? You won't be able to walk at all." I really didn't comprehend what that meant. I figured it was like being really high, so I asked him, should I light a joint during the DMT trip? Again, he frowned and said, "My friend, you won't be able to do anything. You'll be gone, mate. Gone from Earth. Gone from everything." In retrospect, I don't think I knew what he meant exactly. The room that I was in was a student dorm, a small one, maybe 10 square meters. His room was decorated with psychedelic art and classy paintings. He played the Sacred Spirit album from his laptop and he dimmed the lights. I got really nervous and, to be truthful, more than a little scared. He told me, "Take 3 hits, full hits. Keep it in your lungs for as long as you can." So I asked him for the pipe. He told me, "No, I'll hold it for you, you just hit it. Now go and sit in the bed, otherwise you'll fall down." So that's what I did. He took the pipe, the most junkiest pipe I had ever witnessed in my life. It was a homemade cracked plastic crack pipe. I looked at him and said, "Seriously?" He filled it with over 50 grams of DMT, excluding the residue that was still in the pipe, and preheated it. Smoke was coming out, and now I was really nervous. "Hit it," he said. So I did. I leaned closer and took a hit for over 3 seconds. The smoke was in my lungs for only 2 seconds, and then it hit me like a train. It tasted and felt terrible. The worst smoke I have ever had in my life, like plastic burning in my lungs. I started to hallucinate heavily. Eyes were opening in the curtains. The wall started to vibrate. I could hear my friend say, "One more time," but I couldn't see him. His voice was heavily altered, like it was being played through a computer and being manipulated. The pitch was lower, and it was like he talked in slow motion, so I hit it again. This time I was starting to get really dizzy and really heavy. A faint noise was starting to arise in the room, much like distorted sounds, but I couldn't quite make out what it was. I felt like I had trouble breathing now, and I started sweating profusely. I couldn't hear the music anymore and could barely see anything, but the sounds that was distorting was getting louder. I knew I didn't have long. "One more time," he said, so I took a third hit, and I fell. I could hear him say, one more time," and with all the strength that I could muster, I answered, "No, enough." But it was like I was speaking in slow motion. The distorted sound was embracing me like a mother embracing her child. I felt strange. I didn't comprehend what was happening to me. What is this? Where am I? What happened? I asked all, the whens, whys, whats and hows. I could start feeling my body sweat, and it felt like my nose was bleeding, but I couldn't move, and slowly it was like I could feel the DMT move through my body, and everywhere it came, it killed me. It was cold. I couldn't feel my arms at first, then I couldn't feel my legs, and lastly, I couldn't feel my heart or even sense my breath. I was alone in my mind. There was nothing but my thoughts. Thoughts that I thought, this must be what death is. Am I dying? Wake up, please wake up. I didn't. I tried waking up for what felt like an hour. No good. Did I become my best friend's experiment? Did he kill me? No. Having a corpse in his bed would get him in serious trouble. Then I must have accidentally took too much. Yes, that's what it was. I took too much DMT. I am the first person dying on DMT. What a waste. There isn't so much I wanted to do with my life. Sure, I wasn't always grateful for life, but did I want to die? What's that? A voice. You idiot. You're dying. You took too much. What would your parents say? There is a girl in your house expecting you to come home tomorrow, and you know what? You'll never see her again. You will never have anything else but your thoughts. But I tried everything. I tried waking up. Let's give up? Fine. Let this be the end of my life. My life would have been brief, but I lived my life the way I wanted to. I had a good life. It felt like my consciousness was being lifted from my dead body and sent at light speed through the universe. I kept going and going and going for what seemed like years. And then there was this dark place, and I had no physical form. It was the shattering of my ego. Thousands of pieces floating in space. My memories, my feelings, my ego. I played a piece of my memory and relived it like it was happening at this very moment. I was a little boy walking to my mother on a sunny day. I was happy and wanted to be embraced with the love of my mother. It felt like I was starting to cry, but there was nobody to cry with. I relived my moments of my life. My first kiss, meeting my first friends, being bullied, my first fight. I felt everything. I started to regain control over my shattered ego. My first thought was not where I am, but when am I? I am no longer a believer of reincarnation, but it felt like this is where souls go to wait for rebirth, and I felt a presence. He felt that I could feel his presence. I wanted to meet him, and instead of moving through space, space moved around me, and I started going forward. What I encountered next was beautiful. A floating ball of light. It was huge, like a red giant in comparison to planet Earth, and it made colours and shapes with its tentacles of light. Millions of tentacles of light going everywhere. I saw colours and shapes I had never even comprehended. It was profound. Tentacles started going my way to my shattered ego, and when it touched me, I learned all the secrets of existence. Images flashed in my head. Space, men, alien, gas, colours, murder, sex, TV, propaganda, the news, pain and suffering, technology, the past, the present and the future. The formula, the math behind existence became mine, and I realised all that is but the perspective in an infinite large universe. I am God, and I am men. I am the devil, and I am the saint. All that I see and all that I feel is but my perspective. If men and women will ever live together in peace, we must understand that we feel is but perspective. Our greatest enemy is ignorance. We kill and hurt because we don't understand. The people we kill and hurt are not bad. They are different. They have a different perspective. Western society has taught me prejudicially. And about prejudice, this has taught me so-called good and wrong. But they are just one of the many perspectives in the universe. And maybe, just maybe, no one is right. Not even me. I started to hear music and chanting. I could feel my body become whole again, and slowly I could feel the sweat in my face and the pain in my lungs. I opened my eyes and could see the eyes on the curtain stare at me. I felt very light and started to speak. Water. A man sat next to me. He was chanting and appeared to make a sign in the air, almost like he was conjuring up magic. His face was covered in a mask of light and colour. It seemed familiar. He gave me water and he kept chanting. His long blonde hair was swirling. It really fascinated me. Just like his chanting and making signs. I drank. It felt good. The memories of my breakthrough started to come to me. I lay down on the bed and smiled. I felt great. I travelled and found truth. I could already feel like it had changed me forever. And then a familiar voice. "Are you okay? How was it?" he calmly asked. I was back. I am one of you. A perspective in this increasingly mad and dangerous world. But I hate no longer. Hate is for the unloved and the unnatural. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed listening to this experience. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing. If you would like me to upload a particular drug experience, please let me know in the comments below. Above all, please be safe, be responsible, and be well.